Jeffrey Epstein is dead, but he continues to haunt Donald Trump. The scandal threatens to tear MAGA apart and possibly the entire ruling class. To get elected, Trump dangled the release of the Epstein files as a sign of his willingness to drain the swamp of Washington, D.C. Last February, Attorney General Pam Bondi said that Epstein's client list was sitting on her desk. And by July, Bondi was claiming that the list never existed. The DOJ and FBI released a statement claiming that their systematic review of the Epstein files revealed no incriminating client list, and that they keep the files hidden to protect victims. They also said there was no evidence to suggest that Epstein was murdered in his jail cell to keep him quiet. So the case was closed, or so they hoped. Millions of Americans smelled a rat. Now the rallying cry to release the files has been turned against Trump himself. It's becoming the biggest wedge in MAGA so far. A week later, Representatives Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna introduced the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which would instruct the DOJ to release all files on Epstein. Since they knew Mike Johnson would block a vote, they circulated a discharge petition which would force the vote to the House floor. Trump warned any Republicans that if they signed it, it would be seen as a very hostile act. As expected, Trump's lapdog Mike Johnson tried to prevent the vote. He sent the House on summer vacation a week early, and he refused to swear in Adelita Grijalva, an Arizona congresswoman who was just elected, because he knew that she would be the final signature needed on the discharge petition to force the vote. But then the Wall Street Journal published a lewd birthday card from Trump to Epstein, and the pressure mounted. Within a week, DOJ officials were having closed-door meetings with Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted child sex trafficker. After these meetings, coincidentally, Maxwell was transferred to a minimum security prison. She reportedly gets concierge-style treatment, with a high-ranking prison official saying he's, quote, sick of having to be Maxwell's bitch. Trump has even said he would not rule out a pardon or a commutation of her sentence.
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
The DOJ released transcripts from their investigation of Maxwell, where Maxwell said she, quote, never witnessed anything untoward in Donald Trump's friendship with Epstein. How convenient for Trump. Then on November 12th, House Democrats in the House Oversight Committee released 3 emails where Epstein said that Donald Trump knew about the girls. Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, covered for him, saying that
these emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong.
And then House Republicans released 20,000 more pages of emails in response. This threw gasoline on the Epstein dumpster fire. And despite all of Trump's pressure, 3 Republicans besides Massie still supported the Epstein Files Transparency Act: Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Nancy Mace. Trump, Bondi, and FBI Director Kash Patel took Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room to discuss the matter, but she stood firm. The president turned on Marjorie Taylor Greene, calling her wacky.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, she says.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And withdrew his endorsement of her. Then Mike Johnson finally swore in Arizona Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva into office. She immediately signed the discharge petition, forcing it to a vote. That's when Trump caved. He knew the bill would pass and that anybody opposing it would live to regret it in the 2026 midterms. He urged House Republicans to vote yes and promised that he would sign the bill. Then the House did pass the bill with only 1 vote opposed, and the Senate passed it unanimously. And then last night, Trump finally signed to release the files. Pam Bondi has promised that the Justice Department will release the files within 30 days. When asked at a press conference what had changed since the DOJ had announced that there was nothing more to disclose, Bondi said, quote, information that has come forward. Information. There's information that, new information, additional information.
Information that has come for information. There's information that new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law.
This is tearing apart MAGA. Marjorie Taylor Greene was once one of Trump's most rabid supporters, but now she's broken with him first on healthcare premiums and now on the Epstein case. She is appealing directly to MAGA supporters over Trump's head, saying that the files represent, quote, the failures of the federal government and Congress to the American people. This is why they don't trust Congress. This is why they don't trust the government. Greene can see which way the wind is blowing. MAGA may turn on Trump, so she's trying to carve out some influence among his base. Also, Trump himself has cracked. When a reporter tried to point out to him that he could just release the files and not have to bother with all the voting in Congress, Trump snapped at her. Over the past week, he's been lashing out at numerous reporters on the question of Epstein. He told an ABC News correspondent,
"You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter."
This was while he was sitting next to the Saudi crown prince, who's known for murdering journalists. And on Sunday, he told a reporter,
Well, I don't want to talk about it because fake news like you're a terrible reporter, and fake news like you, they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of the Trump administration.
Trump's approval rating is the lowest since his term began. It's at 38%. He is tanking on the economy, cost of living, and immigration. The Ukraine war is continuing. There was the bombing of Iran, and now he's murdering fishermen in the Caribbean. This has all played a role. But his worst issue is Epstein. Polls show that 59% of Americans disapprove of his handling of the case, while only 20% approve. And even in his own party, 60% of Republicans think Trump is hiding the client list. And then when asked, do you think the files probably include damaging information about wealthy or powerful people, 92% of Americans said yes. The Epstein files are a Pandora's box that threaten the entire ruling class. Already, Steve Bannon and Larry Summers have been exposed, and the former British royal Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has lost his princely title. There's no telling who will be next. Other names that have been linked to Epstein include Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, RFK Jr., and Ehud Barak. Trump is weak. He is at the mercy of his base. He's already worried that just releasing the files won't be enough to placate them. Many of his supporters have already lost trust in the Justice Department, the FBI, and federal law enforcement generally. Meanwhile, the Democrats are dealing with historically low approval ratings, and they've been trying to fix that by cynically latching on to this Epstein case. But they are going to regret that. Epstein was a Democratic Party donor, and more prominent Democrats are going to be implicated once the files are fully released. For example, documents show Epstein gave live feedback and fed questions to Stacey Plaskett during a congressional hearing in 2019. So Trump has signed the bill to release the files, but he has a few cards left. The Department of Justice could refuse to release the files on the ground that they're conducting an investigation into big-name Democrats like Bill Clinton. Or they could release all the files but redact all the Republican names, which Mark Epstein, who's Jeffrey Epstein's brother, has already said that they're going to do. The common problems facing all workers will eventually lead to an all-out explosion of the class struggle, and that will turn American politics upside down.